Tree of Stitchless TV shares everything she learns and loves on her YouTube channel. You're listening to So Organised Style podcast, produced by me, Maria Theoharis, and Anne Wally, the Pattern Whisperer. So Organised Style podcast showcases people in our community that help others. This is episode 6 of series 2, and this podcast is brought to you by our friend and sponsor Erin Shields of Style Sew Me Patterns. Erin is the indie pattern designer that collaborates directly with the sewing community. That's right, Erin featured in series 1 episode 10. Here's a dare. Tree has been providing sewing tutorials on YouTube since 2011. So go into Tree's account, Stitchless TV, and count up how many tutorials Tree has developed for the sewing community. You'll be amazed. Tree is such a giving person that she features people from across the sewing community on the packaging of her bucket coat pattern that she launched last year. Let's get stuck into this episode now. Welcome, Tree.
Hello, Maria. Hello, Anne.
Hi, Tree. Lovely to see you and speak with you at such a wonderful moment in time where we get to connect with people from all over the world. So you're from an area close to London, so that's pretty exciting.
Yes, and pretty busy and noisy and smelly too.
So where you live, is that like what was originally an industrial area? Is that what you're meaning?
I actually live in a really beautiful place. I'm at the top of a hill. It's very beautiful. And I actually have Turner's view from my window.
Oh.
There's a well-known view where I live, and it's known as Turner's View, and it's UNESCO protected. And it looks out across the river and across the meadows, which is very unusual for London.
Yes. Well, we're all going to have to Google that when we get...
Yeah, we're going to have to Google that. Definitely now.
Oh, no. You'll all come round, won't you? You'll all be turning up, knocking on my door.
Yeah, but I'd bring some scones with me.
Oh, well, then that's okay. Yeah, you can come.
Thank you.
So, Tree,
yeah.
First time I ever saw you was on Instagram, and I thought, there's a vibe going on about this girl. Got to see what she's up to. And I don't even think I've just seen the tip of the iceberg with you. So tell us what you are doing. And if I had 500 hours, I'm sure I wouldn't even be able to cover watching everything you do. So give us a snapshot of all the things you do.
Okay, that is a bit of a problem for me. The quantity of the content is actually a problem. So what do I do? I mean, if I bring it down to something really simple. Basically, if I learn a new technique or if I think of a new idea, I share it with people. So I've been involved in fashion and making things for many years, and it's a world of being very secretive and protecting your ideas. 7 or 8 years ago, I pitched to a TV production company for an idea for a sewing program, and they kind of laughed me out of the studios, but they said set up a YouTube channel. So that's what I did. And I decided to share any new ideas that I had about techniques for sewing or design, or if I went to go and learn TR cutting or new pattern cutting techniques, I decided to share them. And that's what I do. But I don't earn any money.
It's a bit of a dilemma, isn't it? But you can't, when you've got something you need to share, it's in you and it's got to come out. It's like, it's got to be birthed.
Yeah.
And you've got to do it. Otherwise.
Did you say it was like birth?
Yes.
No.
Yeah. You can't
That's
keep
a bit more painful, though. No, you can't keep it in, can you? No. You get it crushed out of you.
Yeah. In a nicer way.
Well, I don't know about that, but yeah.
When I was going through your content on your YouTubes, there is so much. So I've just honed in on the things that I was wanting to find, and I found them. So you've got a lot of content.
I have, but there's so much content that, I mean, don't get me started on YouTube because I'm not friends with YouTube at the moment because they keep changing the algorithms and there are new rules and laws and the breaks are put on things. So I've got 95,000 subscribers.
Wow.
I'm lucky if 1,000 people see a video that I put out there.
What?
And when I go and look at, I know, it's appalling. And when I go and look at the activity of that 1,000, I'm lucky if 12% of them are actually subscribers. So, yeah. No, I know, it's appalling. I mean, that's another conversation. And it's quite a negative conversation. So let's have a happy conversation.
Okay.
So I've got, in the old days, I would put videos out, and in the first couple of days, it'd be about 25,000, 30,000, and it would build up over a few months to like 100,000 or something views, that is. But it doesn't happen anymore.
It's funny, isn't it? Once you get used to the way something works and everyone's done a course on how to get the most out of a certain product,
it changes.
then they change it.
Yeah, but I still love it a lot.
Okay, so it hasn't put you off. You're still producing videos of things that you learn and you share.
Because it's very liberating. It's just really liberating to share knowledge. I enjoy it a lot.
Do you have a list somewhere on like your webpage or something like that of all the YouTubes you've ever done?
Okay, now I'm really embarrassed because I don't actually have. I've invested all of my energy into a platform where I have no ownership. So although I have got a website out there, I don't use it because it's so rubbish. And so I have no ownership of, I know, of all those 95,000 people that have chosen to subscribe to me.
Well, what about if you had some kind of a list? Because I think that you're not afraid to jump into anything. Like, you've done incredible work and you've gone to incredible courses. And if I knew, like, I probably wouldn't, if I thought, something or other, and I thought, I wonder if Tree's done it, I'd just kind of Google it. But if I looked at your list and go, what else has she done? I'd be going down that list and ticking them off and getting through it like a library.
That's a really simple but genius idea, actually.
You don't want to make it complicated, gosh.
No, but I do need a website.
Well, even just a free one, and you could just write down all the ones and the episodes and what you've done, and then we could get through them.
See what's there. Because what happens is when the videos are really old, like they'll only show you about 100 of them, but there are actually 200 of them. But they're out there and you can find them if you specifically search for them, but you don't know to search for them. Anyway, I need to be much more upbeat.
No. Look,
just a library. A library.
A library. And the library has search criteria, right? So you've probably got search words for each of the videos.
Yeah, I have. They're all like tagged. Yeah.
And then we can be brilliant, because I can tell you, by the time we get through all of those, I think we're going to know everything.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about that, but yeah.
It would help.
Yeah, but thank you.
It'd be a great resource.
I'm looking at your top. It's a shame you can't see me. I'm looking at your top. Is it two different fabrics? Is it two different fabrics, or is it
No, it's a digital print. I bought it when I was in with Rylas in the States this year.
Oh, she's brilliant.
Oh,
yeah, she is.
It out. She said, look, I've loved making it. It took me a while to get my head around what to do with it, and I thought, don't do much with it because it's too crazy. But the photos and the way it comes up on Instagram, it makes you look like you've got holes in you. Love it.
Oh, yeah. So are they pillars? Is it an actual scene?
Yes, it's got a Cuban car, a taxi down in.
I know the one. I've seen it. Yeah.
We'll have to put that in the show notes.
Yeah.
I can only see your above your boobies up.
Yes, that's it. The world's not big enough for them. Well, not really. So tell me about your plantoon dress. I was very intrigued with that. There's a few other patterns that I want to talk about, but this plantoon dress.
Pontoon.
Pontoon. So now, is that name, did you always have, because I loved watching you jump off the pier, or was that a pontoon that you jumped off?
Yeah. Well, I don't know what you call it, but yeah. So do you want to know the story?
Yes, please.
So it's a shame we haven't got the video thing, because I could just show you. So basically, when I go on holiday, I'm not very good at going on holiday. I'm not very good at doing nothing. I've got like dyslexia, so I don't enjoy reading. Reading isn't relaxing for me.
Okay.
So I will always take a little sewing machine in my case when we go on our proper 2-week summer holidays. And people always the family always moan at me when I do. And I can't kind of get it out in the beginning because, you know, we've just started on holiday and stuff. So by the end of the first week, I am so bored. Sorry. I know that sounds really bad. They've spent loads of money on holiday. But I start to get really agitated and kind of a bit naughty. So I had this really expensive silk that I bought from this lovely place called Loving the Fabric. I think it was like 28, 30 pounds a metre.
Oh.
Yeah, and I had 3 meters of it, and I made this dress, but it kind of looked too lovely. It looked like a wedding dress because it was white. So I wore it down to Agni Beach, which is quite a well-known beach in terms of the Durrells, and I didn't tell anyone I was going to do it. And I said, "Oh, can you just film me for a minute?" I said and I wasn't even sure what I was going to do, and I ran down the pontoon and I still wasn't sure if I was going to jump off, but then I did. And I don't recommend it because it's quite scary, because when you swim in the sea, the dress really wraps around your legs. And I'm not a very confident singer. So anyway, so I swam in the sea and I swam under the sea, by which time my daughter went in there with one of those GoPro things. Yeah, and I pretended that I did it to distress the fabric, like I really wanted to do it.
Oh, that's clever.
But it ended up being a really good marketing thing, because everybody said, "Oh, where's that dress from? Where can I get the pattern?" So I quickly made the pattern. Well, I did. I had it.
Well done.
Well, I wasn't sure what came first, the chicken or the egg, so now we know.
No, I know.
So you're saying you didn't really want to jump in, but you did jump in.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know that I was going to jump in. It was just, I don't know. I didn't know if I wanted them to take a photo of me on the pontoon but by that time I was so like agitated and bored from having not done anything for a long time. I don't know. I felt naughty, so I jumped off.
Stir crazy.
That's right.
Yeah, stir crazy. But it's really bad because it's a very nice place we go on holiday. So anyway, so I don't want to sound too much like a crazy person. So that's why it's called the pontoon tear dress, and I'm showing you it, but you can't see it.
And I've seen it on your YouTube video. It's beautiful with all the variations that you had for frock tails as well.
Well, I'm a bit of a hacker. That is an expression, isn't it?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
The patterns. Can I say something about patterns now, even though I've got 2 patterns out? So people don't ever know how to take me because I don't toe the line. So even though, you know, I've worked producing for Jean Muir and Jaeger in my past and stuff in production, if I know that there's a quicker way to do something, I'm sorry, I'm going to do it that way. I don't care what the sewing police say. I will do it that way, and I will end up with professional results. So anyway, as part of that, after years and years of teaching people that are starting out in sewing, I understand that one of their biggest problems is trying to interpret sewing patterns, find their size on the sewing patterns, and then be an octopus and try and make it fit them. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay,
So I really encourage people to get old clothes from charity shops that you probably hate the fabric, but if the fit is good, that is your most perfect sewing pattern ever.
Yeah.
But do buy my sewing patterns. Just don't buy anyone.
Of course, true.
I think underwear patterns, if you find one with, I don't make thermal underwear, but I'll buy it. And I find that there's some connection with, they like it to be tighter than normal underwear. And so thermal underwear fits me incredibly well. I get my best necklines from those ones. They're not too high, they're not too low.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Well, the neckline on some of they're like T-tops, but the neckline's lower. It's just wherever it seems to hit, the ones that I get, and they keep me really warm, I just love the neckline. So I will gauge where that sits in the curve. Sometimes, I'll just cut it now and I've got it down pat. But you're right. You put on something and you go, I feel it's just exactly what I want to feel like. I'm not thinking about it. And you feel
trace it off.
Different. Yeah.
Yeah, trace it off.
Yeah. Just trace it off. Do you, Anne, do you have your own? I mean, I feel like interviewing you.
Go for it, Tree.
I've got a few. May I ask you a few questions?
Please do.
Okay, I think I have 3 main ones. But do you have a pattern range? A range of patterns?
I have a lot
I'm really
of patterns
sorry that I don't know. Say that again.
I have a few patterns that I have created for workshops. It probably started because when I want to do workshops, I find it quite troublesome if people have got different shapes. That is my worst nightmare, that someone would come to one of my workshops, they can't wear one of the things that we've chosen. So I would have items in shops where people can try them on to see if it fits them, and then they can come to the workshop. So that wasn't working because people still didn't want to try things on. So I designed a few pieces that I know I can change by just making a little bit wider, a little bit shorter, bringing it in, and I can pretty much fit without having 2 hours worth of fitting, because no one's got the time when we're trying to make a dress. So I made it out of need, and also to make it an inclusive workshop where people don't, I've heard stories anyway, Tree, where people turn up and they're like, well, make it for a friend, it doesn't fit you. And I think that's not what it's about. And you can't ask people their size. It's pretty tricky. So that has been the need, that I've been coming up with things that most people can try them on. And because I make a lot of clothes that fit me, I do workshops where people try my clothes on. And I'm Mrs. Average. My body, my height, my shape is pretty average. So that means that whatever's going to fit me and I can work on is going to look better on other people. And it usually does.
Yeah. You do a lot of relying upon gorgeous fabrics, don't you?
Oh, I love gorgeous fabrics.
Yeah.
I love it.
So stick to simple shapes and let the fabrics speak for themselves.
Yeah. I really love fabric. Yeah. And it just elevates my mood. So it's a selfish desire to wake up each day and put something on that I feel good in, and then, you know, the grumpiness just disappears. So
it's very effective to wear an outfit that you feel good in, but it doesn't mean it has to look flash or amazing. It just has to feel right, doesn't it?
Yeah, in sync with where you're at. And some days I'm probably, you know, I don't know about you, some days I'm shyer than other days, and it's like a rainbow of outfits where you choose the one that you're in. If you need to be more confident and happy, well, then I'll pick a brighter one and hope that I elevate the mood. So it's all very psychological, isn't it?
And also, may I ask another question?
Sure.
In my interview. Why are you, I feel like I should know these things. Why are you called the pattern whisperer? You are, aren't you? Is that right?
Yes.
So what's that?
Because when I look at a pattern, straight away, it's whispering to me what it should be. And people will say to me, what are you going to do with that? And I said, no, I'm not sure yet. And I thought, do you think I'm going to tell you now? I haven't made it yet. If I tell them first, they'll make it before I do, because it's on a long list. So I see people's patterns, and I see, you know, I go and do consultations and have a look at people's fabric and patterns, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is that. This is this. And I said, yes, you must make that. So it's something that I can visualise in my head while I'm driving a car. I'll see a fabric in what I've got in my large collection, and I'm already going through my filing system in my brain of the different patterns it'll look like. So I do that while I'm driving. Now, don't come down to Melbourne and be on the road when I'm on. But,
you've had fair warning.
Yeah, I get bored when I'm driving. So, you know, you can't sew while you're driving, so you think about patterns and fabric.
Yeah. And I do feel like you should be a glasses ambassador or something. I mean, you know, the glasses that you wear, are they a particular brand?
Oh, I search high and low. My biggest chore is finding the next set of glasses when these ones, have reached their
You've got loads
expiry.
of different types, haven't you?
I try on a lot. Yeah. But now tell me about this coat. I want to hear about your coat.
Okay. So my pattern, I've got a new version of my bucket coat pattern out.
Yes.
And it's got more of a range of sizes, and it has integrated pockets. And I don't know why I didn't do pockets in the first place, but there are a couple of things I would like to say, if I may, about the pattern. Okay. I get really excited when people make the coats, and we've had 3 different competitions on Stitchless TV on YouTube for the best coats. Now, there's one person that I think everybody knows about, who's called Judd or Jude, depending upon how you pronounce her name. I mean, she's made so many fantastic coats. So I've had to put her on the front of new sewing pattern.
That's great.
Because, you know, she really just has to be there. And then on the back of it, I've put, 6 different pictures with other people's bucket coats on the back. So running down the tab, I call it the inspiration tab. And there are 6 little pictures, and underneath each picture it says made by Lou David, made by Hilla, made by Mumtaz, and it says made by lovely lady because I couldn't remember her name.
Oh.
So my plan is for each next issue of the paper patterns, I will have different people down that inspiration tab.
That's really lovely. It's a lovely thing to do.
Well, the sewing community's very kind of sharey and lovely like that, isn't it? So
yes.
Yeah. So if you want to get on the cover of my next issue of my bucket coat, you better get sewing.
I better do it.
So what's the deadline for the listeners?
Oh gosh, I haven't got a clue. I ordered 100 of each. I've got about 20 pontoon tier dresses and 20 bucket coats left. But they can download PDFs.
Oh, good.
Nobody seems to like it, but I prefer PDF downloads.
They're fast, aren't they?
Well, they're faster and you can get them straight away, but then you don't get my lovely packaging.
No. So you like PDFs?
Yeah, I like PDFs. I was going to say something about the packaging. Oh, I can't remember. Oh, you get a label in there as well.
Oh,
which sounds a bit arrogant. My label sounds arrogant, but no, I'll read it to you. But I don't mean it in that way. Okay, well, on the label it says liberated by Stitchless TV and me, which sounds a bit like, who do you think you are to be liberating me? But what I mean by that is, you know, when you make something gorgeous,
yes,
it is really liberating, isn't it?
It
you
is.
feel like kind of elevated and boosted and lifted up. Well, I
think
don't
it's
know.
perfect.
Anyway, you get one of those in the pattern as well.
I think they're fabulous, and I can tell you, your biggest fan. What happened with you? Had the meeting and her suitcase got held up.
Oh, that's Judd. Yeah. So that's Judd. Okay. So can I talk a bit about her?
Yes.
Of course you can. Yeah.
Hi, Judd. She lives in the Netherlands, and she had never been on an aeroplane before, right?
Yeah.
And she's never stayed in a hotel before.
Wow.
Right? And similar age to myself, which I won't be revealed. Well, I can. I'm 54. She's a little bit older than me, okay?
Oh.
And when we were doing the Frock Tales event, actually, it was So Different that runs the Frock Tales event up north.
Yeah.
So when we were doing that, I persuaded Judd to come. But I didn't really realise how great her fear was.
Whoa.
Until she arrived, and particularly they lost her case.
Oh.
So she was only coming for one night to be in our catwalk show to model like 8 of her bucket coats, even though she has made 29, I believe, bucket coats. She's a big fan.
That is a big fan.
So she was really devastated at them losing it. So then when we took her back to the airport in the morning, they found her case. You know, it had arrived. It had gone off somewhere. for another country. So I said, come on, let's do a little fashion show in the airport.
Oh,
So I modelled her coats for her in the airport while she was waiting for her flight.
I would have cried my eyes out. Honestly, to lose your me-made wardrobe or your precious fabric and all made up.
I know. She really was upset. And it had her prize, because one of the prizes, when I do the bucket coat competitions, the prizes are 3 meters of my digital printed fabric. So that one was a waterproof, I can't remember what it's called now. It's quite a tough waterproof fabric, and it had the New York print on. And then for the sleeves, it had handwriting from the back of a postcard, like real handwriting. So she had made her bucket coat out of that, and that was in the lost luggage. But they found it. They did find it.
Oh, if anyone would have thought to keep that, let's just face it, any time anyone would have worn those items, they would have been grabbed.
They would have, because there's only one of those.
Oh, yeah.
What an incredible story. I remember looking at it on your Instagram, and I have to say, I love looking at your Instagram. Is very entertaining. Everyone should just subscribe for the sake of subscribing and keeping up.
That is very kind of you. It's difficult to know what to put out there these days. Do you find, and the annoying thing about having a product, actually, because this is new, me having a product like this is new. I was hoping to just exist by having, it adding to my 200 videos. I thought that was enough, but it hasn't been. No. So I've had to come up with products. So when you have a pattern, the annoying thing is you have to keep going on about it all the time. So maybe more recently, my Instagram feed hasn't quite been as interesting as a few months ago.
Oh, I like seeing different versions, and I love the fact that you show what other people are doing with it. That's a heart warmer. It's a heart warmer for other people, and a heartwarming situation for you to know that people are using your pattern and being very creative and love to be part of that experience. It's just wonderful. I love that.
Yeah, it's great that you acknowledge their work with your patterns. It's really helpful.
Well, I love it when they hack it. I love to see. I love to. Sometimes people contact me, and they say to me, "It's okay if you say no, but would you mind if I was to make and sell either something that they've seen in my video or actually the bucket coats?" And even though I say on there that, it's not for commercial use, if they ask me, I love the fact that they are able to make money. Like lots of people make the Japanese tote bags. I'm not saying that it's completely my idea, but some of them have asked me as a result of seeing the videos, and, they're selling them on Etsy. And I love that. I love that they're able to do that.
Let's get this steam done. Love this collar band. Let me just put this blazer aside for a minute, and I'll give you some insights into Style Sew Me patterns. Erin Shields is a designing force of Style Sew Me patterns. I first found Erin's patterns when she launched the Nikki Blazer, and Myra Lorraine showcased the Nikki Blazer as part of her Black History Month Pattern Designer Challenge last year. Now, I bought the Nikki Blazer at the time, and this year I decided to use it to participate in Myra and Natita's challenge again. Erin was one of their sponsors and offered a discount to the sewing community to try her patterns. So we know Style Sew Me Patterns supports the sewing community in many ways apart from the pattern range that Erin provides us. Making the Nikki Blazer when I ran out of time this month was only tricky because it was crunch time when I got my act into gear to make this blazer. The instructions were simple to follow. The style is simple. As a petite, sometimes simple styles work best. Less fuss, no bother. I can always use a bit of style in my everyday life, so it lifts my spirits and helps me get through the day a bit easier. You can browse through Erin's pattern range at stylesewme.com. The patterns are available as printed patterns or as PDFs if you really need your pattern today. Don't be afraid to try these styles because you'll find Erin has developed video tutorials to get you from A to B when you sew her patterns. Let's get back to this podcast.
So tell us about the bag that you're talking about. I haven't seen that one.
Well, I'm not saying at all, okay, that it's my thing.
Yeah.
But again, like I said, my sense of time is appalling. But I think about 4 years ago, I was walking around Bond Street, as you do, and I walked past them. I don't know if you pronounce it like this, Martin Marguela shop. And in the window, they had these, they could sometimes call them origami bags. It's a triangular shape, but his ones look really designerish and stylish. So I tried to mimic that, and it was made from a quilted fabric with a leather handle, like a sleeve over the shoulder bit of the handle. So what I did was I got an old sleeping bag, and I made it out of a sleeping bag. So it was like upcycling an old sleeping bag. And then I just put like a handle on it. So that was the first of my Japanese tote bags, and then it developed into I made other versions. I made one out of my digital print. This is another story. Shall I tell you quickly?
Go for it.
I've got a really fantastic digital printers called Fashion Formula. Am I allowed to say their name?
Yeah, you just have. It's okay.
Yeah, I know, but you can cut it out.
No, that's fine.
He lets me take fabric that I want to experiment having digital printed at his factory because he's not too far away from me. So knowing that with sublimation printing, it reacts to polymers like the plastics in the polyester fabrics, I had a little think about it and I thought, well, hang on a minute, sequins are made of plastic. Surely it will work on that. So I took some sequin fabric to him and it worked fantastically. And if you look through my feed, you'll see the New York printed sequin fabric. So I recommend you go to your digital printers and take them some plain sequin fabric and say, Trees said it definitely works. So print it.
Oh, wow. That's such a great idea. And I think I do now remember that beautiful print. It was, look, I just love it when you come up with this new wave of different things. I always find it exciting, and then you come up with something else and you go, oh, no, well, don't forget I've still got another version here of this pattern. Well, that's good because it's keeping us plugged in and keeps us on the story, because really the whole thing's a stories, isn't it, Tree?
Yeah, it is. I also love the factory as well. Do you love factories? Do you get to see many factories where you are, like mass producing stuff?
No.
I think a lot of it's outsourced in Australia.
Oh, is it really?
I think there are some producers here in Australia, but not as many as there were probably 30 years ago.
Yeah.
It's coming back a lot over here.
Okay.
And a couple of years ago, I discovered an amazing place in North London that's a social enterprise. And they do mass productions for ASOS, Burberry, like many big companies.
Yes.
Wow.
Like high street names and then like designer names. And then they have a small studio where they do runs of 5 to 50.
Oh.
And they also have a pattern cutting studio. And they have this whole other place that is called the Technology Academy, where people in London can go and do like a 6 or a 10-week course in pattern cutting or sewing.
Yeah.
And if they're out of work or earning less than a certain amount of money that I don't know what it is, the government pays for it and they can go and train there.
Wonderful.
That's a great initiative.
Yeah, so they allowed me to film there.
So is that on YouTube?
Yeah, it's called, I think, A Tour Around Fashion Capital.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
it's fascinating. It's amazing. The woman that runs it, she's like this superhuman, fantastic, amazing person that goes around the world talking about setting up factories and social enterprises.
Wow. Well, that's something I'm going to have to watch, isn't it?
Yeah, no,
I think so.
I was there the other day, actually. But yeah.
You know what I'd do? I was just thinking that getting that library of all the things you've done is going to take you a while. What about if you just gave us 10 each week on your Instagram?
That's a good idea.
You could just have okay, YouTube, what to catch up on this week? Here's 10. And then we've got 10 to choose from.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And then you've got it always on the Instagram.
And it's content that you've already created, so it's just making sure people go back to it.
Yeah. Cool. This is like a consultancy therapist.
Well, we want to watch
I'll pay you later.
We want to see it, and I really want to have a choice of which one would be most in my zone right now. So,
thank you. Can I just say something to you, Anne?
Yes.
Okay. I'm really sure it's as available in Australia as it is over here. You really love print, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah. Now, I don't know if you're an artist or anything like that, but do you know that you do not need to be like an artist or a graphic designer these days in order to be able to have something amazing printed? You can just take a photo on your phone. You can manipulate, play with the colors on your phone. Go to the site for fabric printing, and you can choose what sort of repeat. It will do a seamless mirror repeat. It requires no skill whatsoever. I'm saying that not knowing if you have any skill in that department.
I do.
What?
I do paint.
Yes. Well, how come you don't do prints of your paintings?
Well, I was thinking more in terms of doing bespoke one-offs, and I've just been doing some dabbling with some drawing, and I thought I had a couple of anyway. Stay tuned. And I thought I'd just paint directly onto the fabric, because then I've got the fabric.
That is amazing, but then there'll only be one of them, whereas
exactly.
Because the thing, no, I know, but more of us would like it. So, in these places, so for me, my situation with Fashion Formula, I'm able to have like a little shop there. I don't pay any money, but you can go there and order the Frida Kahlo camouflage print, or the, I can't think of anything else, the New York print or whatever. It just exists in the library. And so your paintings could be like that as well. And then I get like a 20% commission for doing nothing at all.
You know how you get a little bit stir crazy if you can't sew. I go stir crazy if I have to do admin. And I can tell you, it's something I'm overcoming, but I really find if I spend a lot of time doing, like you said, you should sell patterns and stuff like that, I know I could.
You really could, though.
I really could. But then I like the uniqueness of the fact that it's for the people that I work with, and I also have, I can give them some advice. You know how you keep your hand in that whole situation. And I love the freedom that you have, and you just jump in.
But I don't earn any money, though.
But you could. You could. I mean, you're earning money through the patterns, and they are stunning patterns.
Oh, thank you very much.
They are stunning, very eye-catching and vibrant, and you can make them as vibrant or as very boho or whatever you like. They've just got.
I tell you what, that is the great thing about printing patterns. I was quite anti-printing them because it's quite expensive to get them printed, unless you get like thousands done. And I was thinking, well, I'm not making any more money on the printed ones than I am the PDF downloads, which are like a passive income. So why do I want to do this? But I completely understand why I want to do this, because I can do whatever I want on that cover. And it's like a little bit of an opportunity and freedom. And I don't know, it was quite joyful creating that cover and doing whatever I wanted with it.
So, Tree, can I ask a question about Fashion Formula?
Yeah.
Okay, so is Fashion Formula similar to Contrado and Spoonflower?
Yeah, I've got to be careful what I say now.
No. I'm just, I've heard the name, and I've actually had fabric printed through Contrado, and I know you can do it through Spoonflower. So they're kind of like in the same family, aren't they, of what they do?
Yeah, well, I don't know what it's like there, but there are loads of companies in the UK now, and there are companies in Korea as well that are doing it very cheaply. So it's becoming more and more competitive. I worked very closely with Contrado, trying to get them into the sewers market. I have to be very careful what I say. And I love the work they do at Contrado, but I couldn't get them to be as financially competitive as I wanted them to be. They have the most amazing range of fabrics and the most fantastic products like espadrilles and beautiful swimming costumes and bikinis and yoga mats and sofas even that you can have your digital prints printed onto.
Yes.
But the fabrics, they needed to be cheaper than they were. But Fashion Formula for me are very convenient because they're near to where I live and the price point is very good and they often have discounts.
Okay.
Wow.
So can I jump on to the swimwear?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I saw that your mum wore one of the swimmers that you made. That's what we call them, swimmers or cozies.
Yeah, we call them swimsuits over here. So I quite like to shake things up a little bit.
You do?
Yeah. So, I mean, of course, I could get some stunning model to model my swimsuit, but my mother is a stunning model. So she's 83.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I feel, so I don't want to go down that route.
Oh, look, when I saw the photo of your mum in the swimsuit with you know, how she is, I just thought that was perfect because she can put on a swimsuit and go to the beach and it's got nothing to do with age, ability, shape, nothing like that. And I just thought, that was such a positive image.
It's like a fun thing.
Yeah. So do you take after her or does she take after you when it comes to shaking things up?
Oh, gosh, I think I really take after her. I might fight it. Yeah, she's very attention-seeking.
Oh, no.
Your poor mum. I wish she was here.
No, it's okay. She's Italian. We do a lot of that kind of shouty thing. Yeah. Are you Italian? You, Maria?
I'll give you the full. I'm Australian Greek Cypriot, so I pull the whole thing together. But one of my sister-in-laws, she's Italian, and I understand the whole talking really loudly when everyone gets together because there's such excitement of being together.
Yeah.
And you either deal with it or you don't.
Yeah. You run away. Yeah, the other side of my dad, he was from Southern Ireland.
Oh.
So, but there are a lot of Irish Italians over here and in America, aren't there?
Oh gosh, yes. And in Australia, because I'm Ireland background but Portuguese as well.
Got Irish background.
Yeah. Well, with a name like Flanagan, what could you do, really?
Oh. Well, I didn't know that because I can only see Whaley up there. Well,
it's funny because when my daughter was born, I haven't kept my maiden name, but I gave her middle name as Flanagan. So her whole name's Tara Flanagan Wally, which is like, who does it?
Yeah. No, I've got double-barreled for the kids.
Where do you get your ideas from, Tree?
My ideas, honestly, come, I think, from catwalk shows more than anything else. So I think if you were to ask me what my thing is, it's kind of like a subconscious intention. So my intention is to reinterpret what I see on the catwalk in an easy sewing tutorial, an easy version for everybody to be able to make. And sometimes I achieve it and sometimes I don't.
I've watched a few of the big designers and how some of them have just, the output that they put out for one collection and so many style choices. And I always think to myself, well, you know how we hack our own patterns and we hack different things just to kind of change it and tweak things. I always think that those beautiful pieces on the runway are seen in a blink of an eye. And really, we should be spending at least half an hour on each one and really looking at them because there's so much in them. And I think the mass producing of so many different styles, we lose our chance to really focus.
Well, I always recommend that people, and I haven't been for a while, but I often go to places like Dover Street Market, Harvey Nichols, and dare I say Harrods, so I can go and look inside. It's really important to have a snoop around inside. You learn so much by, I mean, I don't go there and turn the garments inside out because it's quite a kind, you don't feel very relaxed when you look around there. But you can freely look. I think it's an invaluable lesson to do that, to go to a high-end shop and touch and feel and look at the finishes that they use. Sometimes you'll be amazed and the finish is rubbish. Yeah. I have another story about that one, but I don't feel I could say it right now. But yes, but
you'll have to come back again.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are there more patterns in the future?
Yeah, there are. Yeah, there are actually. I mean, I don't mind saying there's a tailcoat coming, and then there's a very interesting wrap pants, but not like regular wrap pants. You know, like trousers pants,
Yes.
not like
yeah. Oh,
So,
I'm excited.
Yeah. So, Tree, do you have a question for Anne?
So 2 things. One, did I once see you at the Knitting and Stitching show in Earls Court doing a class? Is that possible?
I did
4 years ago.
Yeah, probably 5 years ago. I was.
Oh, really?
I don't know. Where were you? What were you?
I was teaching and you were teaching.
Oh, I was going around doing interviews and at the different booths. How did I miss you? I'm sad. I'm really
Well, if it
sad.
was you, you did stare at me for quite a long time, and I stared at you, but I couldn't quite place it.
I can't remember which.
Not.
I went in a stitching and knitting show, but it was not on one of. I don't know which. I can't think of the name of it. It's on one of my blogs. I wrote about it.
Oh, okay, I'll go and have a look.
Oh, it was so much fun going around England. Oh,
so do you come here much?
Well, we've been a couple of times, but the last time we went, we checked out Wales and we had an amazing, amazing time. And we really drove all over the place, nearly killed each other because I'm not a very good navigator and I was in charge of that.
Oh,
and let's just say it was a bit ugly. So we just went around a roundabout. I think we did 15 laps and basically Bruce said to me, when you tell me left or right, that's when we're going to move. And until you tell me, and I'm thinking, oh, I'm imploding here. It's not working. Anyway, so I just went for a random one. It happened to be right, and we were on our way again. But it's not best. So anyway.
And is Bruce an actor?
He's been on TV in a show. He did a season of Think Tank, which I think you had over in England for a while. It was the Australian version. And he's a tram driver. He's it's just been released. He's singing. He's actually a singer as well. Believe that or not. So he's singing at Carols at Geelong next Saturday in front of a crowd.
Wow.
So
as a soloist or in a choir?
Singing some Christmas song that he's got his own. Forget what it's called, where he's got a certain style of singing. So I didn't know. He's just one of these people that he sees his life and he just does as much as he can, 150% whatever he can do. And I just run along, try and keep up on the sidelines.
Do you make his bow ties? He wears bow ties. So is that like a scrap buster thing?
No, he was on the TV show. He needed some wardrobe pieces, so I had Japanese fabric, so I made 26 in one go. And he's also been collecting bow ties since I've known him, so we have got probably a wardrobe full of bow ties.
And he likes the red ones, doesn't he? Last time we spoke, he wanted some red bow ties, yeah.
I see. Can I ask you, Maria, where are you?
I'm here.
Yes. So how long have you been sewing?
Since high school.
Oh wow, really? And are you able to earn a living from it, or is it a hobby for you?
No, I work full time in a different job.
Okay.
And sewing gives me an outlet to be creative.
It's so important, isn't it? So many people.
Oh yes.
So many people say that. Yeah. And it is like therapy, isn't it, as well? Not saying you need therapy, but I see in the students that come to see me, it's so much more than the sewing.
It is. And I saw the videos that you did of the pattern magic, the bamboo bodices, and I thought if I had just seen your videos when I was working my way through that book, it would have been so much easier.
Yeah. Well, do you know what? So I'll just say something about that. Yeah. So that's actually TR cutting, which is something that's developed by a guy called Shingo Sato that I studied with in Milan. And pattern magic It feels like they're a bit in conflict, but I don't think they are. His. Is it a man or a woman that does the pattern magic? I feel like it's a woman. I'll say her.
Okay.
Her origami bodice, the method that she would use would be completely different to his origami bodices.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah. So there you go.
Which is harder? Which is the harder one?
I'd say that his is much more advanced. He specializes in maintaining all of the original fittedness of the original shape after having deconstructed the shape and put it back together with new star lines and details. I sound like I'm talking gobbledygook.
Oh, it's perfect. It makes perfect sense to me because I've worked through it and making sure that you got the selvage, like and the grain line in the right spot. Yeah.
And all that lot. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So, yeah, as I said, when I looked at your videos, I thought, oh, okay, I've got a better way of learning how to do it through Tree's videos. So thank you.
I think what I like about how you talk about things, you don't make it top secret, you don't make it complicated, and you don't make it so only a few can come in at a time. You know how people stand at the door for a famous nightclub and you've got this, well, no, sorry, you can't come in because you're not dressed appropriately, you're not a boy, or, you know, the ratio.
Although it was around in those days.
Yeah, me too. And really that exclusion is something that I'm not going to mention any names, but sometimes people make out that, you know, that type of way of treating people, you know, you can't do this, you can't do that. And I'm thinking to myself, well, it's okay. I'll do whatever I need to. And I love how you just cut through that and just go, I'll do it my way. And if you want to continue doing it a hard way and you're happy with that, well, I'm happy that you're happy. But it doesn't mean that we have to follow other people's rules if we can find another way that just makes us feel happy.
I mean, you're not doing, it's not what I would call a workaround. You're enabling people and you're demystifying how to go about it. And I think that's so valuable. And you've done it, in 200 videos now? That's a lot.
Yeah, can I just quickly say that? So for me, last year, I secretly, because I've got this dyslexic thing going on, I didn't do fantastically in school, but I did get art. So last year, I secretly went off and we do GCSEs over here. I don't know what you do in Australia. When you're 16, you do like an exam.
Yes.
It's called a GCSE, yeah? So I secretly went off and did it in maths in 6 months to see if I could do it. Prior to that, I thought you could only do academic things if you were like especially clever. I thought it was like something for people that were not, I didn't think I was clever enough to do it. So I went off and I studied it, and it was like a realization for me that, you know, all you have to do is just learn the tricks. Somebody tells you how to do it, and then you can do it. There isn't any cleverness. So things like that origami bodice, whether it's the origami bodice, a lined purse, or a simple scarf, I believe I can get a beginner or anybody to do it, because you've just got to tell them the tricks to do it. Because that's all it is, like doing maths. I don't know if
that's the formula, that gets you to the destination.
Yeah. You just learn what the tricks are and then you can do it.
And I think that's just fantastic, because it just means that it's accessible and it takes the pressure off. And I've even noticed on some Instagram posts, which I love, where someone said, this is what I've made. I am quite happy for you to tell me what I need to improve with the fit or whatever. But I love the fact that you can also say, I like what it looks like on me. I don't want to hear anything that tells me how to fix it, because as far as I'm concerned, I'm thrilled. And if I do change my mind down the track, I will then open it up and ask you what you think. Yeah. But I just think having control of what people think they can throw at us is wonderful. And you can always delete those comments anyway. Have you ever had any comments, Tree, that you've had to delete?
Do you know what? I'm probably going to get loads now, aren't I? I'm just going to touch this Anna de la Russo book because I think it might be made of wood. No. Surprise.
No?
I honestly mean that. No.
Wow.
I might get like spammy ones where they're trying to put their links in the comments so that people go there.
Yes.
But in general, no, not even in general, just no. I haven't had, not the worst thing that happened to me was I went on the Sewing Quarter. We have this sewing channel called the Sewing Quarter.
Yep.
And I shared it on my channel, the bit that I was in, and some woman in America, so I'm brought up a Catholic, but I'm not of any, religion or anything. She said to me, I've been following you for a very long time, but I was so saddened to see that you had so little vocabulary that you had to take the Lord's name in vain. And I thought, what? Really? Did I? So I must have, I'm not going to say it now, but I must have said the God word or something like that. But that is the worst thing that I have ever had in terms of a negative comment.
Quite an unusual comment when you think about what other people say on it.
I don't know. Yeah, anyway, so there we go. Yeah. But I mean, I've not had any horrible comments, basically.
That's great. That's good to hear. Yeah.
It's good, and it's good not to have that on the top of your mind, because there's one thing about a horrible comment, no matter how hard you try, that's the one that keeps coming back to the top of your thought pattern where you go.
But don't you just delete it when it's there?
But you've still read it. And I think the best thing would be if you just see it's something that doesn't look quite right, quickly delete it and don't read it.
So the Sewing and Design School, I don't know how much you know. I don't mean in terms of inside info or whatever, but how sad that it was deleted or whatever happened. Or is it like a new rebirthy thing and it's all great?
Look, it's worked out the way it is. It was a case I didn't realise, but Rylas reposted a picture that she asked permission.
One picture, wasn't it?
Yeah, and the person who said yes, that was fine, was not the person who took the photo. How are you supposed to know that?
Yeah, that's true.
But when you think of all of those accounts that are often from not countries like where we are from,
Yes.
I'm trying to be careful what I say. I'm going to get some negative comments now, aren't I? There are so many of them, and they steal my content. They steal my friends' content.
Yeah,
how can they keep going? Yeah, and yours, I'm sure.
Yeah, I've seen. I'm thinking I went through some. People let me know, and then I'll send a little message. Just tag me. I said, just tag me. I said, people are trying to block you and get you shut down. So they've tagged me, but I feel you don't get any response from them because they really believe that. I think they've even got pictures of the big Instagram women. They've got pictures of them modelling clothes on their Instagram, and I'm thinking,
how do they get away with it? Yeah,
you don't even know who they are. So it's really strange that they haven't done their homework before they do the reposting. Anyway, that's another story, isn't it?
Yeah. But anyway, I think it's a fantastic resource, her account.
Well, it's shut down, so now I follow her.
She's got the new one now, hasn't she?
Yeah, and also the web page. She's got everything there and all the.
Okay.
It's all done. So it's one of those things, isn't it? But it was a bit of a shock.
It was a shock.
Oh.
Yeah. It just goes to show how vulnerable we are, putting all our eggs in social media. In fact, I should be looking in the mirror when I say that because all my eggs are social media.
Well, it's that case of that was when I first started doing Instagram. I didn't really have a lot of photos of myself, but I thought I won't have to worry about that aspect if I just have me in the clothes. I'm not going to get, because I thought it's just going to be too hard to get copyright on. It was just getting too complicated. So hence there's a lot of pictures of me on my own Instagram and I don't have to worry about it. But it's
a powerful thing. I think it's a powerful thing seeing you in the clothes.
I just think, look, I've got the average body. It's not perfect and it doesn't matter.
Okay.
And you look good.
And you look good.
That's right. Thank you so much for being involved in Sew Organised Style podcast, because what you've been doing on YouTube is amazing and it's all encompassing and it enables and you're demystifying sewing for a lot of people.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay. So thank you very, very much. Thank you.
Great to see you,
Bye.
Tree.
Great to see you.
I'll see you on YouTube.
Yeah, all right then.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. Sew Organised Style, spelt with an S and not a Z, is available on our website seworganisedstylepodcast.com with all the links for this podcast and our previous episodes. Hop into our Patreon page to provide us with a little bit of financial help so we can continue to showcase helpful people from the sewing community. Our guests bravely share their sewing and life skill strategies with our creative online community every day, and we want to bring them to you. You can also find our podcasts on Apple iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Castbox and Libsyn. Subscribe to our podcast to catch every new episode and tell your friends about our podcast. Thank you to our sponsor, Style Sew Me Patterns, for sponsoring Sew Organised Style podcast. Erin Shields is a great supporter of the sewing community. Our next episode is about Perfect Again, developed by Julie. Julie is a breast cancer survivor who has developed breast forms and mastectomy bras for the community. Thanks again for joining us.